So,
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, the scientist, the curious person in me, tell me when.
So, all right, welcome back to the Chemist Confessions Podcast. I am Gloria.
I'm Victoria.
This is a human conversation on all the skincare science we talk about on the daily. And today we are talking about dark circles. Everything dark circles. As both of us enter the realm of motherhood, this is a great time to talk about dark circles.
Is it? Is it? I don't know if I need to be reminded of it.
Oh, yes. I'm starting to realize, I'm starting to hit this realm where I am getting picky about the lighting in my bathroom because, because ain't nobody need that top-down light at 4 a.m. to
100%.
make you feel garbage.
100%. Also, that sterile white lighting. Totally agree.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, maybe there's a time I install a ring light, like right on the mirror in front of my face.
Yep. Agreed. We should also mention this is actually semi-fresh in our minds because we actually added this to our new edition of Skincare Decoded. So very exciting.
Yes. And Skincare Decoded is finally coming back. So check out our website. Go to our book link that will lead you to where you can pre-order the book. So
yeah.
All right.
But all that to say, let's talk about dark circles.
Yep, we're going to start off with the biology of dark circles and why it's just one of those problems that seems very, very persistent.
Yeah, so there's no good rubric on how to go about like eye biology, okay? But the one we really like and have often referred to is a paper that actually broke dark circles, the types of dark circles into different types. So just know that this is one method. There's other ways, but I think what's very clearly laid out is just the general visual concerns, how that's broken down into what category, so you guys can kind of understand how complex this skin concern is. So in this paper that was done by a lab in Taiwan, they actually broke it down into 4 types. What they did was there's a P type, V type, S type, and then they have an M type. And in the P type is straight up hyperpigmentation. They are looking at a brown hue. They say it's possibly combined with a facial pigmentin lesion, possibly area that they're referring to. Just know that this brown hue is also associated with things like freckles and melasma. So this brown hue is what they're focused on. The second type they look at is V type. They look at vasculature. They associate the vascularity around the eye, your lower eye, to be tied to pigments like blue, pink, and purple. And they say that, the theory is that there's a fluid buildup that's happening under the eye, and that's causing this kind of like vascular leakage that's leading to that sort of both puffiness and those colors that you see for that type. I know. I'm sorry, guys. This is not uplifting. But the idea here is that we break it down for you, so then you kind of know, and maybe when you assess yourself in the mirror, you might have a better idea of maybe everything that's going on, maybe things that are not happening, but you feel like you're getting like lumped into these categories. Finally, there's the S type. And this is something that I actually don't believe is considered more dark circle. This probably contributes more to like eye bags. They say structural changes. So this is usually there's a fat pad under your eye. The change in that structure can lead to things like sagging, the kind of like hollowness that happens that leads to eye bags. And we would say that this is from our point of view, we would say this is a separate skin concern from dark circles, but we kind of understand why they put this in with their categorization of dark circles, because ultimately most people are M type, and that means that they have a combination of these things that are happening. So hopefully that gives you an idea. I know this is not uplifting, but I think what's helpful is to first assess. And maybe you might realize your situation is not that bad, or maybe you might be targeting the wrong thing. It's not really dark circles. It could be something else, so hopefully 100%. That helps everybody.
Yeah, I will say, based on my own assessment of myself, even though I am the type that's prone to dark spots and freckles and whatnot, mine is definitely definitely V with a capital V. and yeah, because I think for me, Victoria and I have been in this industry for so long. We've definitely done the scary Visia UV image where you can kind of, you can see dark spots a little bit better. I definitely don't really have dark pigmentation like the brown stuff under my eyes. It's like the fat pad has eroded, kind of like the brake pads in my 10-year-old car. Now it's all vascular. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm definitely like looking at this and trying to give you guys the best technical breakdown. I just sign myself up for the M type. Like I know it's all of these things. I know I've got a brown hue. When I smile, I have a fat pad that is very obvious. So there's that involved. So I just know it's just all of it. Sign me up for all of it. I know that's where I am. So
I found this paper that's kind of interesting. If you're wondering what type of dark circles you might have.
I really like this paper. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a giant Chinese study. So it isn't ethnically diverse, but I still think some of the stats here are kind of interesting. It's really large. There's close to 2 million subjects aged from 18 to 85. And this is because it's more of a digital statistical analysis. They put out these apps and instructions for you to take high quality pictures with your phone. And then they put it through an algorithm to analyze the images. I will say take the results with a little grain of sand because they do try to label your dark circle type as either pigment based or more vascular based, which I'm sure like based on the undertone, like how blue it is, maybe the brown, you can get some aspect of it analyzed, but I don't know how good the analysis is. And just to highlight my point, I'll put the rubric up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see how they are judging the severity of the dark circles and the different types. And if you zoom in, you're going to probably make the same face I was when I first saw it, which is, huh?
Yeah.
I can't really tell the difference.
Yeah, I was trying to be like, I looked at the structural type. I was like, I know what that is. I think I can pick out a structural type. But then I moved to like the lower section of the pigment types, and I'm like, wait a second. I think I might have put some of these pigment types also in structural type. And don't even get me started between the difference of pigment and vascular. I have no clue.
I'm like,
absolutely no clue. There's also a couple people where I'm like, do you actually have dark circles, or was the AI model just forced to include you as a data point? Because I don't know, I can barely tell.
Yeah, right. So all that to say, I think it's a valiant approach, but I don't really. I mean, obviously, I didn't go through the software. I don't know how good it is, but I still think there's some very interesting, fun stats to share with everyone. First of all, it is not your imagination. If you are in a relationship, if you're a female and you're in a relationship with a male, you're not making it up. Your boyfriend, your husband probably have less dark circles than you.
Annoying.
Doesn't matter which type. I'll put the bar graph up. Doesn't matter your age. Doesn't matter the dark circle type. Through the ages, females have worse dark circles than males.
Annoying.
And the difference, we'll put the bars up, the gap is really big. It's not even like, oh, males tend to have slightly better, less dark circles than females. It's like females have way worse dark circles than males.
And you know what's even more annoying? It's not like the curves ever catch up.
Yeah,
you would think like there'd be a certain age that would catch up. No. It's just
bad. It's just bad across the board.
Yeah, just sucks.
So, and another statistic which I thought was interesting, but I kind of took with a grain of salt, is they say that dark circles peak at 40. Like it gets worse with age, and that in your 30s, it just gets to a point where it's pretty bad, and it peaks around, the data says 39. And I'm staring at it, it's like, you're telling me it gets a little worse from here. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, you say it gets a lot worse, but I'm also like, we're almost there, Gloria.
Yeah, we're at the end.
Whew.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm sitting here looking at the stats on my way. Is it because other problems crop up? I don't know if the imaging takes in consideration of, I don't know, crow's feet sagging, and they're like, well, at least your eyes look brighter. I don't really know, because it says that like it peaks at 40 and it gets a little bit better after that. But I'm like, does it get better? But whatever. What I do find interesting is that you can see based on the graph that the pigment type, and it makes a lot of logical sense if you think about it. The pigment is what really rises in your 20s and 30s, which can be a cumulative of sun damage and everything else catching up. So yeah, those are just some of the interesting stats I wanted to share here. There isn't like takeaways. I just thought the one thing that made me very indignant, I was like, oh, I knew it. My husband has no dark circles and I look like a panda.
I do have a question, Gloria, and I don't know if you can answer this. Why? I know they say that the cutoff is at 40, but why didn't they show the data like up to 85? Because I'd be like really curious to see, I don't know, for some of these metrics, like how that changes.
So if you look at the bar graph instead, they cut off the I don't know why they cut off the line graph at 40, but if you look at the bar graph, they did show the dark circles at older ages. And then you see the orange bar and the yellow bar are people 60 above and then 70 above. And it showed that it went way down in those ages, which again, I don't know how much I believe, or if the AI is just like, I don't know, like the other skin concerns you have at that age kind of overshadows your dark circles.
Interesting. Because it looks like some of them are less severe than people in their 20s.
Yeah, especially the comprehensive type. There's a huge dip from like 60 to 70.
Funky. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And then I also feel like based on what the paper was saying, I feel like they also didn't know what to make of it. They're just like, here's the data. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's great. Oh, very interesting.
Oh, and something else that's kind of interesting is it's interesting, but again, I don't know how to extract a takeaway from it. Is they survey people on their lifestyle habits and also their skin concerns. And it's not surprising that lifestyle, like a healthier lifestyle, is linked with less dark circles, but they also link other skin concerns with dark circles. So it's like, oh, if you also have oily skin, big pores, or whatever else, like you tend to have worse dark circles. But to me, it's more, I feel like these surveys are, I don't know how to make those ties. Like, I think dark circles is independent from other problems, but maybe the perception of it is a little harsher when you also have other skin concerns.
No, that's a really good point. And I also feel like these are obviously, they're self-questionnaires, right?
Yeah.
And the self perspective is always more critical. And yeah, you just like don't really know how to calibrate all of these responses. So it's kind of interesting.
And I will say, while I was doing research for this, I found this like really, I didn't put it up here because I was like I was mildly offended by the article. It was basically like, is dark circle like the determining factor to how people will age you? I was like, I don't want to talk about that.
Rude. No.
Yeah, they're like, it's not wrinkles, it's not smile lines, it's like, it's nothing, it's dark circles. You have dark circles, you instantly look older. I was like, I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, gosh. I'm just sometimes always surprised the kind of research that you can find out there. But anyways.
Yeah. Cool. So that's the biology of dark circles and some of the stats around it. Of course, the $1 million question here is, do topicals work? Do your eye creams actually do anything about dark circles? We'll get into that in the next segment, but first, let's take a break. Speaking of dark circles, we have to talk about the double play. This treatment combines 0.3% encapsulated retinol with 2% haloxyl peptides to combat hyperpigmentation, fine lines, dark circles, and crow's feet.
That's right. This has been clinically tested and found that even at the 6-week mark, even with a 2-week acclimation period where subjects only use double play 3 times a week, subjects showed a significant reduction in dark circles and crow's feet. Not to mention, we also further clinically tested this treatment and had a dermatologist approve and deemed it safe for use around the eye area.
So if you're new to our brand, please use the coupon code CCPodcast2024 for 15% off your first order. And if you've been a fan for some time, please use the code PodcastShip2024 for free shipping on your next order. We're back. Do eye creams work? I think our typical approach is to talk about some of the data around active ingredients, what you should look for in your eye cream, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to share a really quick blip to explain why this is not what we're doing this episode. This is on the eye cream classic caffeine. There's a review paper that talks about all sorts of topical for the eye area, and this is what it says about caffeine. Topical caffeine is an effective means of treating infraorbital dark circles. When applied topically, it can be an asset in treating dark to leaky vessels. A randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study demonstrated the ability of a caffeine-based gel to penetrate the lower eyelid skin and diminish lower eye edema and pigmentation. Wow, sounds great. This is very promising. All the words we love. Double-blind placebo-controlled, yada, yada, yada. And then if you click into the actual paper it's referencing, this is what the paper says. It says, thus the results in figure 3 imply that the cooling effect of the hydrophilic gel occurred from water and ethanol evaporation resulted in heat removal. This heat removal could reduce eye puffiness rather than the vascular constriction of caffeine. And I'll put the result up. There is a decrease in puffiness and whatnot. And you look at the time scale, it's kind of a cooling effect scale that starts at 10 minutes, lasted about 3 hours or so. It actually kind of started dying down pretty quickly. So the conclusion for the paper is that caffeine doesn't do anything. So this is why in the game of telephone, when it comes to eye creams, a lot of one active centric data is very bleh. So I decided we're not going to talk about it on this episode.
I don't know how many times, I mean, you guys can also go back to our previous podcast episode where we specifically talk about caffeine. But caffeine is the biggest example and biggest offender of like has clinical data, but none of it actually substantiates it being used as an active. Like this isn't the only paper that Gloria and I have stumbled on. There's been a couple others that have shown that caffeine just doesn't really do much, or it's just constantly blended with other more heavy duty actives to get that benefit. So again, I don't know how many times we have to say like we hate on, like truly we feel like validated in hating on caffeine as an eye active. So
yeah, absolutely. So today the approach instead is we are going to look at 3 different clinicals that's done by brands on their blend of actives, because area concerns are a blend of problems, so it does require a blend of actives. And we're going to start with Revision Skincare's eye cream.
Yeah, so Revision, they have an eye cream that includes 10% THC ascorbate. It does also include caffeine, but the product is going to run you for $120 for half a mil. However, they did do a clinical study. They had 40 subjects that used their eye cream for 12 weeks. They used it twice a day. We should also mention most eye cream studies are going to be using the product twice a day. So we'll put the results up here. They do provide their before and afters. I don't really know why there's 2 different sets of lighting here, but there is. And they also, what's nice is that they actually do show the pigmentation before and after, which I think is a lot more helpful because you can see how the before and after the normal photograph. I got to be honest, if I looked at it, I don't know if I would actually notice a true difference, a significant difference here.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think so in one of the special lightings, you can see the redness, or it kind of translates to the vascular aspect of your dark circles. It looks really cool, really compelling. The redness under your eyes, or the actual blood vessel there, the pooling is basically gone at the end of the study. Super compelling. But then you look at the actual BNA, and I think it really does highlight how complex eye area dark circles are. You can just see that there's some improvement. If you look at one at a time, you can be like, oh, this guy is less red. Some you're like, I think it's less dark. It's just something that, looking at these pictures, I can confidently say a computer will be able to tell the difference 100%. Yeah. But visually, if that degree of improvement is impressive, it's a little less more meh. And we'll put the last chart up here. And it says percent improvement from baseline, like an overall percent improvement from baseline. Put the week 4 stat up and also the week 12 stat up. If you look at the bars, it looks like really nice looking bars. But if you look at the actual number, there is a 1.48% increase from improvement from baseline at week 4 and a 3.1% improvement from week 12. Yeah.
I also was just going to say, looking at the before and afters, I didn't realize this, that they have these really cute arrows trying to show you where you should look at to see those differences. And I'm still looking at it like, of the 6 arrows that they've placed, I think I can see benefits in maybe 2 of them. So I'm like, it's really tough. This is, and I also feel for brands that do clinicals, because this is a very stubborn skin concern. Like Gloria said, it's complex. So it's like, I know this is a marked improvement, but holy cow, is it really hard to see those benefits.
Yes. So we're going to move on to the next brand that did a comprehensive clinical study on their eye cream, and that is Senti. Senti is, I think, a more derm-focused brand that you can get on dermstore.com. They did their test for 12 weeks too. over just 15 subjects. Their blend is good old niacinamide with a proprietary blend of peptides. And I'll put the BNAs up. They also did the redness of vascular pictures. They also did the brown spot pictures. I should mention that I will put it in the on screen. Revision also did the brown spot pictures, but for whatever reason, I forgot to crop it. So from the Senti clinical, the BNAs, again, the really intensive imaging, you can clearly see the redness reduction over time. The brown spot, the brown pigment reduction, you can see the reduction. I will say the degree of improvement doesn't visually look as impressive in the pictures. But if you look at the BNAs, it actually has, I feel the same sentiment towards Senti's before after as revision. There are a couple pictures you can clearly see like, oh yeah, that's definitely an improvement, much better. But then there's a couple you're like, okay, you have an arrow for me. I see that. I think it's better.
I think especially the second photo, the second subject, it's very clear that in the cross-polarized view, it's very clear there's a reduction, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look at the actual photo, I'm like, it feels like it kind of, it got worse. It looks like almost, if anything, it just looks the same. I wouldn't be able to tell just by the naked eye. So it's really tough. And I think it just continues to kind of uphold our stance on, it's complex. This is why they try to break down dark circles into different types to try to figure, there's different factors at play that contribute to the overall dark circle appearance. So
100%.
Yeah.
Last but not least, third product that did a clinical on dark circles specifically is our very own Double Play, which I think we have a blog article that shared our clinical journey, but I actually don't think we've walked through this clinical on our podcast before. So Double Play, again, it features 0.3% retinol with 2% haloxyl peptides, and haloxyl is created by Sederma, and that peptide blend was specifically tested in the eye area to help with dark circles. So we did this on 35 subjects for 12 weeks.
Yeah, so because this also included retinol, we needed to make sure that subjects had acclimated correctly. So we did, within this 12-week time frame, also insert a 2-week initial acclimation period. So 2-week acclimation, 10 weeks of full use. And in that acclimation period, they did only use the treatment 3 times a week. So that's just something to keep in mind for everyone. And we'll show the results here. What we did want to note about our clinical study is this was not specifically completely dedicated to dark circles. This treatment was designed so that you didn't need a tiny, jar of eye cream. You could use it for both full face or eye area, however you want to choose, or both. So that's why in these before and afters that we show in these Vizia photos, it's full face. However, you can see the side profile. You can see kind of like the shadowing of certain subjects to give you an idea of the general area of the eye. And although we didn't look at specifically pigmentation, right? We looked at, we didn't look at the skin under different cross-polarized lenses. We did want to mention one piece of data that we're very proud of is not only do we see a significant reduction, but we also wanted to make sure that a good chunk of the subjects saw those benefits. Right. Sometimes what can happen is you can have an amazing subject that has great results, and then the rest of your subjects could have not so great results. And if you can imagine, you remember general statistics, that can often skew the average benefit, the average improvement that you're seeing. So I did want to share here that in terms of specifically dark circles, by week 6, 50% of the subjects had seen significant improvement. And then by week 12, 82% had seen a significant benefit. So we're very proud of these results. And so that's why we feel the need to highlight.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the reason why I decided to just go through 3 products and 3 clinicals done on these products is to show that this is the expectation and the standard that you should expect from dark circle treatment. Yeah. Even though looking at BNAs from like the Senti and the Revision Skincare Clinical, or even our own, if you zoom in at just her dark circles, you might think, well, she still has dark circles. But that is the nature of dark circles, is you shouldn't expect topicals to completely erase it. It's there to help, and these products with clinicals is already kind of the benchmark of what you should target if you want to use a topical treatment of it. I think eye creams is a very abused category where there's so many products. It's just like, it's an eye cream. It's good for depuffing. And there's like nothing to back it up.
You know, one more rant about the eye cream realm. There's two things that I don't like, but it can, and it's misleading for consumers. One is for eye creams, they tend to put what we call soft focus optical powders that can instantly blur the area. And we don't consider this as true skincare. This is considered more makeup, and that's totally fine. But what's kind of not, you know, it doesn't feel honest is that it makes you believe that you're getting like instant results with their eye creams. You know, sometimes they'll even use it as a stat to say overnight or, you know, in 10 minutes. There's another product that I used to work on and brings me PTSD, but there's certain film formers that can actually, you know, kind of create a smoothing film over the area to help reduce.
That was Victoria's favorite project.
Anyways, long story short, I just want you to know that is not skincare. That is makeup. Okay, so just so you guys know that like where some of these crazy claims can come from. Yeah.
Yep. So kind of to sum up the segment, do eye creams work? Yes, but it's to what degree, and you should expect only a certain level of improvement. I will say a lot of topical actives, what they're aiming to target is the brown, the pigment part of the dark circle, and that will give you a certain degree of visual improvement. There are a lot of actives, particular, I think peptides. A lot of peptides actually are tested for the more vascular based part of the dark circle. They work, but the degree of improvement probably isn't as visual as you will want. So that's the state of topicals.
I feel like our podcast, the general theme is manage expectations. You can get results, but just, you know, manage expectations. That's it.
Yes.
You'll be good. Yeah.
So we're going to take a break now. Today, it's my turn. And we're going to go back to anatomy. We talk about weird tongues. We talk about weird feces. Today, it's about weird noses. Yeah, we're going to talk about the proboscis monkeys.
Excuse me?
Yes, they are very provocative. Their name, their formal name is Nasalis larvatus, and it literally means long nose. They are native to Borneo, so you probably see these monkeys on vacation. What's really interesting is, well, I guess I didn't know this before. You've probably seen the famous, all the pictures of the long lobby, kind of almost foul-looking nose monkeys.
Yes.
That's what people think of when they think about proboscis monkeys, but that's actually the male proboscis monkey. Females have kind of like an elfish, almost a little human-like, a little elf-like, kind of pointy nose that doesn't have that big bulbous lump that is the male nose. This is going to be a very short fun fact. There's a lot of jokes there. It's like, ha ha ha, the proboscis monkeys, you know what they say about big noses. It's true. They've done the study on it.
No, they have not.
Yes, they have. Males with bigger, floppier, more rotund noses. Like the longer the nose, the more female partners the monkey has.
So, yeah. Like, I'm sorry, the scientist, the curious person in me. Tell me when.
So the nose can get as long as I think 17 centimeters, which is pretty sizable on a 50-pound monkey.
That's very long.
Yeah, it is a very big nose, and the bigger the nose, and they live like most monkeys. They live in groups. They're very social creatures. Males tend to have a harem of females. If you have a small nose as a proboscis monkey, you might have to consider monogamy. But if you have a big floppy nose, you can consider having a harem. So that's it.
17 centimeters. That's sizable.
Yep. So if you're curious, look it up. These monkeys are also really good swimmers. What's kind of funny is like they're also good divers. There are videos of them like just jumping into water from very high up trees. So kind of fun. Yep.
Yay! Now I'll know way more about that nose when I see it now.
Yes.
On National Geographic. Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Let's tie it up.
Let's wrap this up.
So what to do about your dark circles and how to shop? Well, like we mentioned in the middle section, topicals, it's just about managing expectations. We're just gonna put it out there. If your dark circle is associated with structural changes to the eye area, there is nothing topicals can do about that. So if you suspect a big chunk of your dark circle is caused by big structural changes, best course of action is to check out in-office procedures. You may, depending on severity, depending on how you feel about it, that may or may not be a rabbit hole you want to dive into, but that's a state of structural dark circles. Topically speaking, a lot of actives, the classics, vitamin C, retinol, those can help, but they target mostly the pigment, the brown aspect of your dark circles. Vascular base or severe eye puffiness, it's all short term. Most of those, it's gonna make you diminish the look just maybe immediately, especially for like icy rollers or depuffers. Those actives aren't exactly designed for long-term changes, long-term improvements. So that's a state of topicals. All that to say is, I don't think even though I feel like that's a problem, it's a little bleak, but I think we can kind of all laugh at it a little bit. It's like, I actually polled everyone on what do you swear by for your dark circles. At first, I kind of polled everyone with the impression of like, oh, if maybe there's a cool product out there that I haven't seen before, maybe there's an inspiration there. But I loved everyone's responses.
Yeah, it definitely made me feel, it was actually made me feel very uplifted, because I'm like, oh, people do actually have a healthy sense of some of these skin concerns, because I do feel like sometimes, with the way beauty marketing is and social media, it can develop some very unhealthy views about, your physical image. So I don't know. I thought that the responses were great.
Yeah, they're hilarious. Some of my favorites are a good color corrector. Wait, I don't think this is what you have in mind. No, it wasn't, but it's very practical. And we got so many that says, sleeping 10 hours a day.
What's that like? Tell me.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Sleep, smile, cry emoji. Good genetics, also very practical. Also, especially when it comes to like puffiness or whether or not you're prone to pigmentation. And the fat structure under your eyes is huge when it comes to and your skin, you naturally lose some level of fat as you age, and that's why it's like you didn't have dark circles, and when that went away, it's like bam. And then I love this one. It says caffeine ? Not sure it even works. All caps. LOL.
You know what? Not gonna rain on that placebo parade. So you keep going. If you think it works, go for it.
Yeah, so I think this kind of sums up how I end up walking away feeling about dark circles. It's like, like do what you can. Topically, pick an eye cream that's been tested, that's going to give you that peace of mind that you're doing what you can for dark circles.
Yes.
And the rest is just about, I think it's like you can look at it with a bit of humor, and aging is just a natural process everyone goes through, and a good color corrector can absolutely go a long way.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is one of those episodes where we have to say, thank God for makeup. Thank God for good makeup, right? And I think, I feel like in terms of dark circles and eye area, in terms of topically, the way I go about it is more like age prevention. Like, I'd like to just have this area age more gracefully, and that's my effort in that. Am I actually trying to hardcore correct? Probably not. So, but yeah, hopefully that gives everyone some level of comfort in their dark circle journey. And yeah, and at the end of this episode, as someone who's not very good with makeup, if you have any good concealer tips, any color correctors that you swear by, let us know your skin type, let us know what product you swear by. I think it can help everyone out. Totally. That's a wrap for this episode. If you have a burning skincare question, please email us at info@chemistconfessions.com. Check out our website where we have all our long-form blog content, where we have more fleshed out guides. If you want to participate in our polls, please head to our Instagram, chemist.confessions. These polls really shape every episode, can't you tell? And finally, we are on TikTok. So other than that, we hope this has been helpful. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye.